Just in time. I got everything put together just as the countdown was coming to a close. Welcome, everybody, to the show. My name is Stuart Davis, a flawed man of God, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. You won't see me traipsing around with my MDiv because I don't have one, nor do I want one. Um, I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. Just here to talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them, one that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non-denominational Protestant. Don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Often I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you're listening to my voice, if you're paying attention to this stream, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is we're talking about. So if you're interested in learning more about Christianity, if you are new to faith, if you are seeking it out, if you feel lost or feel like something is missing, if you're looking for that bit of purpose, and maybe there's a voice in the back of your mind wondering if there's more to your existence than just your life here on earth. That's you. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. You're a big reason why I started this show in the first place. Reach out to folks like you who are just trying to figure out what it's all about. And maybe I can give you a little bit of an impression on it. Maybe you can join us in what it is we're talking about. And we'd love to have you here. Love to have you here. Because there's a lot of confusing information out there. There's a lot of it that might not seem authentic to you. Professionally made Instagram reels or YouTube shorts and all this other stuff. Contrived, scripted social media out there that just doesn't feel like it's on the level with you. And maybe you're worried about going and listening to the preacher because you think that that's their profession, that's their job. They have to do this, or else they wouldn't have a job. Else they'd get fired. And that gives them a conflict of interest. Or you've read news stories about corrupt priests, corrupt pastors, corrupt clergy, and I get it. I get it. There are bad actors out there. And I understand from the outside looking in that you might think that's what being a pastor is about, but it's not. It's not. You'll figure it out eventually. But right now, you're in the part where you don't want to hear it from a pastor talking from a pulpit. You want to hear it from a guy sitting in the pew next to you, one who can talk to you and say, hey, look, I've been sitting in this pew for a while, all my life. This is why it's important to me. This is what faith has done for me. And this is why choosing faith in Christ is important for you as well. We'd love to have you along. If you're already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You'll find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's all about the small group community getting together, talking about God. We have a great group of folks who are in the chat. They are awesome. We come in here, we put our problems on, we lay our problems on the table. We talk about what's going on, what we're happy about, what we're sad about, what we're confused about, whatever the goings on. We make some small talk, then we get down to business of whatever the subject is. Right now, we are talking about the Bible. We are reading through from Genesis to Revelation, and right now we're in Proverbs. We just started it last week, and we're happy to be here. I'm happy to have you here. So get in that chat, contribute, and make this show better, because the chat does make this show better. Tell us what you agree with or disagree with. Where do you think I'm right or wrong? Give us a unique perspective or experience or insights to what we're discussing. Ask questions. Give us your opinion. That's good stuff. That's what we want to hear about. And I promise you, we're a small enough community that if you take part in that chat, I'll read what you say and respond to it. In the meantime, if you like this episode, go ahead and click the like button. If you haven't subscribed but you want to, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to get a notification when I'm streaming, which is around this time every night, Monday through Thursday, click the notification bell. Like I said, be part of this small group. We'd love to have you. That said, let's get into the show. How's everybody doing this evening? We're in the middle. We are in the middle of the week, and that's good. We're on the downhill because tomorrow's Thursday. Thursday's always a great day because we're all looking forward to Friday. Friday's the wind down and getting ready for the weekend. Streaming over the next few weeks is going to be sporadic. It's going to be sporadic. So I want you guys to understand that. Kind of giving you guys a heads up a little late in the game. But don't be surprised. Don't be worried or concerned if I'm going dark for a few weeks. It's just because I've got a lot of stuff going on that I've got to deal with, enjoy, take part in, participate in. But it's going to take me away from streaming for the show for a little bit. I'm planning to come back. And it's going to be the majority of June. But the majority of June, but July will be right back at him. Okay. Vacation, work, other stuff's going in on around that time. So, like I said, your patience will be appreciated, and Just don't forget about me. Don't forget about me while I'm gone. Maybe I'll do some posting in the Discord. I say that, I've said that in the past, and I haven't haven't I haven't made good on that really all that much. But maybe give me just some info. Matt Felty is here first in the chat tonight, followed by Jenny ELJ. Welcome, you two. And Nico made it, and Stuart will be missed. But I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm like, look, I know the grind for YouTubers, especially if if it's monetized, if it's part of your part of your job and everything, that this will affect the distribution of content. YouTube doesn't like people taking breaks, even though they encourage you to do so. Their algorithm doesn't particularly care for it. But again, this isn't my job. This is a mission point, and I know that. And look, you guys, I doubt that you guys school off somewhere else just because I'm gone for a week or two at a time. So I will miss you guys, and I will be looking forward to streaming again. But again, there are things that are taking me away, but that's life. That's life, and it's not forever. It's not even for all that long. And yeah. Anyways, oh yeah, just that I'm taking a few weeks off for other commitments, other things I got to do. So I won't be streaming a whole lot, if at all, over the next few weeks. But again, anytime that I'll be able to, I will. I'll try to be a little bit more active in some of the side stuff, and yeah, I should have prepped more for this. I should have given you guys more of a heads up, because I know that today's Wednesday, then there's Thursday, and then I don't know when I'm streaming next. But like I said, this is going to be mostly a June thing. July will be hitting right back at it, and stay in Proverbs. You think we'll finish Proverbs in July? I think so. I think so. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. First, we got to get through May, which isn't even over yet. Which isn't even over yet. Uh, yeah, I'm looking at the calendar. I see a couple of places where I'll stream. So, okay. Okay. A little bit of both. Having a good time and getting done what needs to get done. Kids are coming out of school. Hot weather has things that has implications for me professionally, uh, and that's good. It's all good stuff. Um, but again, like I said, it'll be sporadic, but I'll be back. But enough about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about Proverbs tonight. I think don't have a whole lot of small talk. I try to take some time um, to give people time to come in, but I think the audience we got now is who we're rolling with for the time being. So um, I won't make you guys wait on their behalf. Let's pull it up and go with it. Boom. The pitfalls of immorality. We're in Proverbs 5. And this is interesting. Kind of this theme we've been on, if you've noticed it, talking about wisdom. Talking about wisdom, discernment, and all of this. A lot of the previous proverbs have come up with warnings and cautions from Solomon in these Proverbs to don't use wisdom to keep you out of evil ways, out of immorality. And this one seems to start off by the title, The Pitfalls of Immorality. So we've said, hey, evil's bad, guys, it'll pull you down and it'll keep you there, but why is immorality such a damning thing? Seems obvious just from the context of immorality. We think of it as something in a that's not moral, that's something that is immoral, evil, bad. Why bad thing? Why thing bad? So that's just, but it's more than just understanding that yes, we should do the right thing, and no, we should not do the wrong thing. What we should think about is, what is doing the wrong thing? What consequences happen to us, not just with our soul eternally, but what is going to happen to us here on earth? The consequences of our actions oftentimes don't just affect us, they affect people around us. Suicide ends your life, but brings, or if you commit suicide, you end your life, but you also bring a lot of pain to the people around you who care about you. It's oftentimes considered a very selfish act because you don't have to deal with it anymore. Everybody else has to deal with the fact that you're gone and you took yourself out with, prematurely. And now, and everybody is wondering, everybody's left picking up the pieces. Drug use takes away so much of your personality, changes you. It can kill you. But the people around you, people with your family, your established friendships, your colleagues at work, all of them are oftentimes affected by this. The closer they are, the more that they tend to be affected. Adultery affects your marriage, affects the person that um you have vowed to spend your right life with, just you and them. For me, in my case, me and my wife, just us, period. And going outside of that is a breach. And it affects how I look. It affects how my wife might interpret trust, security, um, all sorts of things. And then what impact does that have on my kids seeing that from me? How do they grow up? A lot of kids who grow up where there is um, infidelity in marriages, oftentimes not automatically, but they see that and they say, and it cheapens what true dedication is to them. So that a lot of times, my dad ran around. Why can't I? It's not that big of a deal. He was still an okay guy. I drink beer with him sometimes. People are able to take away positive notes from that. I'm not going to be like that. But doing this stuff affects more than you. And it's not just you for eternity, it's you right now. And right now is us getting ready for it. Coming home from work and Stu is on. And John Smoth, haven't heard from you in a while. I know you tune in. Sad to see drug use and other immoral behavior wrecking Nick so bad. It is. Yeah, and I don't know if you've tuned in the last couple episodes. My piece on Nick is um he's a good friend. Um Lots of people much closer to me seem to think um he has a problem. Looking at what is going, just from seeing the video of recent streams, seems like he's not in a very good place. Um Due process is afforded to him, just like all of us. It is a biblical thing, but you know what we're seeing is not good. What we're seeing is not good. So the man needs prayer, and hopefully, kind of a return to the Nick that we all know and love, right? So we'll see how it all plays out. I am watching this. I am watching the events unfold, much like everybody else. Um, so we'll see how it goes. Um, John said, "I'm finally done with seminary for next few months. Out on summer vacation. So hope to be around a bit more. You're always welcome here, John. And hey, here's another thing, John. If you're up for it, if you're up for it, when you do graduate, if you want to if you have an invitation from me to come on this stream, and I'll interview you or let you talk about kind of what going to seminary is like, what called you there, um, what was your expectations versus what the reality was, and how the process went. Kind of what do you learn in seminary, and then coming out of it, um, how do you feel different now? Those are kind of some things I'm sure that this audience, especially hearing it from somebody who's been a long time viewer of the show, and great at swooping in with the comments, would be very welcome. I know I would welcome on it. Like I said, no pressure on you, but it's an open invitation for you once you've graduated, um, for that. I would love to set that up. Love to set it up. One step at a time. Somebody texted me. Anyway, so there's that. All right. Now, where do we go? Oh, we're in this was me getting on my soapbox to talk about immorality. How I see it. We'll see how that lines up with Solomon, but I think that that's kind of where he's going. We've talked a lot about wisdom in avoiding and warning away from immorality. Now we're talking about, what are the kind of the consequences here. So, Proverbs 5, my son, be attentive to my wisdom, godly wisdom learned by costly experience. I love that part, the text there. Godly wisdom learned by costly experience. If you remember with Solomon, great wisdom, great ruler. Back end of his rule, however, things started to fall apart. He had many wives, many concubines, and that led him down a path where he was um, even worshiping to false gods. And as the leader, as the king, the whole nation kind of followed in his footsteps. Not everybody, but much of it. You could see the overall culture, the overall society of Israel started to go his way. And as a result, God said, "This is going to this. There will be repercussions for this. There will be repercussions for this." Now Solomon realizes his errors before the end, and that's part of why Proverbs exists. And this is kind of his. I was given a great gift of wisdom. I used it much to the advantage of my people, but ultimately I didn't I didn't keep it responsibly. And I let my fame and I let my power go to my head, and this is me giving my warning to you. So I love how he puts godly wisdom learned by costly experience. Incline your ear to my understanding. that you may exercise discrimination and discretion, good judgment, and your lips may reserve knowledge and answer wisely to temptation, because that's what happens daily in many facets. We are off. We are tempted. Lust, greed, jealousy, addiction, anger. You think of the seven deadly sins. I don't know if all of the ones I I named were part of them. I couldn't actually name them off for you, but I know gluttony, I think, is in there. Sloth, things we are tempted with. How we approach them, how we attack them, kind of tells us how things are going to go. Exercise discrimination and discretion, good judgment, answering wisely to those temptations. For the lips of an immoral woman, sorry, for the drip, hold on. Hold on. For the lips of an immoral woman drip honey like a honeycomb, and her speech is smoother than oil. Now, I know that this is picking on the ladies here, but as a man reading that, it rings, it resonates with us. Resonates with us. The temptation can be there. Women, you're beautiful in many ways. Your personalities, your physical attractiveness, many things. And that can steer us away, if we're not committed, if we're not using discretion, if we're not um, keeping focus on why we're married in the first place, married to who we're married to, right? Um, but you can apply this to other ways. We as people are seduced, not just for lust in the physical um, affection aspect, but think of being seduced from a political aspect, from politicians as well. Similar thing. You can use Bill Clinton, if those folks as old, at least as old as I am, could know. Uh, Clinton was a smooth operator. You can see by how he talked to the many women in his past. How is that much any different from a seductress? The whore of Babylon. Um, it's there. Lips of an immoral woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. Smooth speech, tempting, tempting words, promising pleasure, and hitting the right buttons. But in the end, she is bitter, like the extract of wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold of Sheol, the netherworld, the place of the dead. So that she does not think seriously about the path of life. Her ways are aimless and unstable. You cannot know where her path leads. There we go. Lots of promise, lots of anticipation, lots of arousal in this regard, excitement. But what is it in the end? And again, it's a good illustration. It's a good point to talk about, because with us as men, a lot of times this is our Achilles heel. But what about chasing that first high? What about being angry with somebody and just the temptation to just sock them in the mouth? Mm. What about somebody what about robbing somebody, wanting what they have? If I could just get that money, you know what I would do with that money? I would buy this thing. I would buy that PlayStation if I just had what they had. Oh man, I'm diabetic, but man, I just really want those donuts. It's gonna taste great. Temptation. Temptation. The desire. That's what that's the carrot, right? And that's why he uses the illustration honey, smooth like oil. But what about the back end? And I'm not talking about her back end. I'm talking about the aftermath after the affair, after the robbery, after the high is gone, after you the rage. How do you feel? Can't you feel like you need to do it again because you need to get that feeling again? It isn't what you thought it was going to be, or you feel empty inside, or you feel regret. Lots of feelings that you could feel, but it's never positive. And the moment it does feel positive, you are in a world of crap because now you really are ensnared with evil and sin and immorality. At least if you have guilt, there is the there is the feeling to try to get away from it. There is still something inside you pulling you back. If you don't feel that anymore, it's not great. It's never too late, but you're getting to that point where it's as close as too late as it can be. Her feet go down to death. Wait. Bitter like the extract of wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold of shale, so that she does not think seriously about the path of life, and her ways are aimless and unstable. You cannot know where her path leads. You're on the same path. That immoral woman is immoral. If you are an immoral man for whatever reason, you're an immoral man. You are right there. Your feet are going down to death. Your steps are taking hold of shale. You do not think seriously about the path of life. Your ways are aimless and unstable, and you cannot know where your path leads. Agency. I like that, Jenny. What agency do you have now? Have you lost that? Especially, and that is particularly true with addiction. It it rips people inside out, and it's not just substance abuse, but substance abuse seems to be the easiest one to just visualize. The constant jitteriness, your life fall the person's life falling apart in front of your eyes, the loss of weight, the lack of it feels like the person isn't even there anymore. I have lost a pretty close family member to heroin. I have some who OD'd and died. I have another family member who, as a kid, I looked up to, who they're still alive, but they're a shell of a person I used to know. When I say shell, I mean eggshell, empty eggshell of a person. It is upsetting to see where it was, where they were, where they are now, and how everything fell apart, and all of it because of pills. That's the easiest one to see, but you see it with alcoholism. You see it with um, folks who are sex addicts. Whether you think that that's a real thing or not, but we know people uh, who think below their belt, and they let that they're guided through that. You see that wreck people. You see people obsessed with climbing the corporate ladder. What do they sacrifice on the way up there? Who do they leave behind? Don't know where your path leads. Now then, my sons, listen to me and do not depart. Hold on. Now then, my sons, listen to me and do not depart from or forget the words of my mouth. Let your way in life be far from her, and do not go near the door of her house. Avoid even being near the places of temptation, or you will give your honor to others and your years to the cruel one. Strangers will be filled with your strength, and your hard earned wealth will go to the house of a foreigner who does not know God. And you will groan when your life is ending, when your flesh and your body are consumed. And you will say, how I hated instruction and discipline, and my heart despised correction and reproof. I have not listened to the voices of my teachers, nor have I inclined my ears to those who instructed me. I was almost in total ruin in the mindset or in the midst of the assembly and congregation. This part here, let your way in life be far from her. Do not go near the door of her house. Avoid even being near the place of some temptation. If you're going to have an intervention with somebody who's dealing with substance abuse, you don't take them to a bar where who might have a problem yourself with substance abuse are drinking in front of them, because you're going to look like a hypocrite, and you probably need the same thing. And why do I bring that up as an example? I know an example of when that happened. Somebody thought it was a good idea to take a substance abuser, and they were going to do the um, intervention at a bar. Great idea. Fabulous plan. I don't think it actually ended up happening. There was some ridicule involved with that. Rightfully so. But again, if you talk to people who deal with addiction, they try to stay away from. Wisdom? Yeah. Well, not being harnessed, not being held onto as was requested, as was advised in Proverbs 4. Um that wasn't being used. Don't go near these things. it's difficult. The funny thing is because we talk there's talk about how porn is so toxic to people. And part of the problem with it is so easily accessible. And while alcohol is accessible, you have to drive to a store to go and buy it. Now, maybe you run into that temptation if you're a place. I don't know how all states work or all counties work, but in Virginia, you can't buy liquor you have to buy liquor at the liquor store. But going to the gas station, you can buy beer all day. That's a temptation you got to walk past if you are an alcoholic. With users of drugs and substances like that, you stay away from your dealer. Stay away. You cut those folks out of your life. Those folks in your life, you cut them out. You don't you don't exist around other drug users. You don't talk to your former dealer. Deal with lust issues. Stay closer to your wife. Don't go out and don't go out and put yourself at risk. However, again, the the accessibility of porn is a destructive factor in and of itself. DoorDash alcohol. We had takeout alcohol during COVID. I don't know if I think it's still legal. I don't know. I haven't tried. Um, Alcohol and porn are easy. Beer and porn are easy to get a hold of, and it's hard to cut them out of your life because it's always if you've got a computer or if you've got even got a phone. And everybody's got a phone. What are you going to do without a phone? It's at the tip of your fingers. So anytime that temptation, you can't. It's hard to get away from it. But here it is. Avoid being near the 10 places of temptation. Stay away from it. If possible, stay away from it. Or you will give honor to others and your years to the cruel one. And strangers will be filled with your strength, other people, and your hard earned wealth will go to the house of the foreigner who does not know God. How many how many guys have thrown money at women on Instagram or not Instagram, on OnlyFans or on prostitutes? How many drug addicts have made drug dealers rich? You've got a whole cartel of billionaires out there who've made their money off of that. We talk about the opiate addiction and the pharmaceutical companies making money off of it. Money is the root of all evil. There's a little bit more nuance to it than that, but man, it definitely is the lubricant of all evil. Your soul, you give it. This is talking about you will give your honor to others, your reputation, your years, your life, your the time you have been given here on earth. Strangers, your strength and your hard-earned wealth. So much of you will not be with you anymore. Your wealth is the stuff that you've worked for, the stuff that you have earned. To go to somebody else, somebody who's not going to honor God with it either. Somebody who is not, in this case, not somebody who is part of God's covenant. I like that, Matt. That's good. That's a good catch. Wealth is a generational measure. You're not just throwing away your wealth, you're throwing away wealth that your fathers built for you. You wealth that your sons will have afterwards. It's not just your time. That's the time that your kids get to spend with you. That's the time that your parents and your brothers and sisters and all your friends and family. That's time that they've lost that they could have spent with you. The reputation, the honor of your family. Good catch, Matt. I like it. I like it. And you will groan when your life is ending, when your flesh and your body are consumed. And you say, how I hated instruction and discipline, and my heart despised correction and reproof. I have not listened to the voice of my teachers, nor have I inclined my ears to those who instructed me. I was almost in total ruin in the midst of the assembly and congregation. I don't understand in the midst of the assembly and congregation. I guess the people of my temple or whatever. But here it is. At the end of it all, you're going to regret it, and you're going to wish you had listened. You're going to wish you would listen to all the people who cared about you, to all the people who told you um, that you would be better off leaving it behind. And who cares about you more than anybody? God has written it down, has put it in the Bible for you to read so that you know that you're not alone. You're not alone in your temptation. You're not alone in your weakness. You're not alone in your rebellion. But stop it. Just stop it. So you don't end up regretting it all in the end. Drink water from your own cistern of a pure marriage relationship and fresh running water from your own well. Should your springs, children, be dispersed as streams of water in the streets? Oh, the baby mama and the baby daddy thing comes with it. It's very much drink water from you. Um, give your lust, give your love, give your affection to your wife, to your husband, if you're a lady. Um, that's where you belong. And don't have kids run around all over the neighborhood that are yours. Confine yourself to your own wife. Let your children be yours alone, and not the children of strangers with you. Let your fountain, your wife, be blessed with the rewards of fidelity, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. Let her be as a loving hind and graceful doe. Let her breasts refresh and satisfy you at all times. Hey, always be exhilarated and delight in her love. Fellas, is he right here? Or is he right? Get a little explicit. I didn't have any background music to play for that. Solomon can be very real when it comes to matters of the be really physical love, physical attributes. Stay with your wife. Remember why you married her, especially us in this day and age where we have long been settled on finding a spouse who we are compatible with on a personality scale. Now, this isn't an arranged marriage. This is two people, a man and a woman, who have dated, courted each other, understand um, that their feelings for each other are real, take vows that are serious to them, to a God that they both feel is uh, is this God, is our God, is the Lord, and take it seriously. And let her rejoice in the fact that you are faithful to her. That has a positive effect on a good and godly woman, as her fidelity has a positive effect on a good and faithful husband. Always be exhilarated and delight in her love. Always good seeing the married couples who are 40, 50, 60, 70 years married and still together. And they've got their own relationship. Why should you, my son, be exhilarated with an immoral woman and embrace the bosom of an outsider, a pagan? For the ways of man are directly before the eyes of the Lord, and he carefully watches all of his paths, all of his comings and goings. The iniquities done by a wicked man will trap him, and he will be held in the cords of his sin. He will die for lack of instruction, discipline, and in the greatness of his foolishness, he will go astray and be lost. It's all right, MR. I'd catch this on replay because Proverbs has been fire recently. that, that there. Are you here just in time for the end, Thad? Because that's your first comment too. Welcome to the show, both of you folks. Um, why, why give in to the temptation? To the temptation of the woman, to the temptation of faithlessness in God. I like how they mentioned the fact that maybe that she'd be a pagan. Someone that this is how this is part that speaks really. This is close to home to Solomon, someone who fell for this. I believe you, Thad. The ways of man are directly before the eyes of the Lord. Always assume that God is watching because he is. He is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. He knows. You ain't you can even fool all the people on the planet. You can even fool yourself, but you ain't fooling God. He carefully watches all of his paths, his comings and goings. The iniquities done by a wicked man will trap him. It almost always catches up with them in the end in life, and it always justice is always dealt out at judgment. That's why I said don't wait until the end to realize you can still have redemption. Christ died on that cross for you so that you can accept him even as the thief on the cross did at the last moment. However, you can ruin your life and others behind in the wake of your decisions. That still causes pain and anguish. And that's not the legacy we want to leave behind. That's not the legacy any of us should want to leave behind. And the greatness of his foolishness will go astray and be lost. These lessons in painful experience for Solomon were from wives' treaty deals with foreign neighbors, as you said in intro. Not just that, though. Some of that was being exhilarated by the breasts of immoral women or women he just wanted to marry. I mean, think of how his mom and dad got together. Women were Solomon's Achilles heel. And again, this is what it makes it relatable for us because so many men deal with this. But it's not just men, women deal with that too. But the temptation of lust is that lust for women that men have is so easily translated to lusting for all different types of sin that we are tempted into. This is a warning against it. This is what it can do. It can drag you down. Hey, breasts are hey, breasts are breasts. Yes. The guys are simple. We like aesthetically pleasing things. There you go. Well, I hope that part in the refreshing and satisfying breasts is we can all be adults about this because Solomon, like I said, this is not going to be the last time, nor will that be the most risque thing that Solomon says. Hey, all right. But this is real. This is real on many. This works on many levels, and it's important to take it seriously. Hey, look at that. Set a short stream. Boom. There we go. How's everybody doing? Just glad to know it's an ancient instinct. It's from the fall, man. From the beginning. From the beginning. There is nothing new under the sun. And we will get to that passage in scripture too. And this is why I said, this is what I love. This is why the Old Testament is great to read. It doesn't just give you a history, it shows you instances where people have suffered from temptation. Some have overcome it, some have been consumed by it. And so you can know that just because you fall short, you are not alone. You are not the only person out there. You have not done the worst thing. Other people have dealt with it. Other people better people than you have fallen from it. Worse people than you have overcome it. Oh, I'm just talking about sin in general, MR. I just have a good memory, Matt. Don't give credit to studying. I'm not a studier. I have a decent memory. Proverbs. Great place to go. The most knowledgeable man. The wisest man that there ever was, is, or will be. Putting words in Scripture to talk about his failings and his warnings for mistakes he's made or mistakes he's seen others made. I think it might have been the better men have fallen for your temptation and worse men have overcome it. Maybe. That might have been. But it is. It's all sin. It's not just this. Emmanuel, it's never too late, but the show's pretty much over. Emmanuel. I was wondering where you were actually. I would say just rewinding to the beginning and catching it from there. Emmanuel. But that's where we're going to be. So this is a reminder, folks. Not a lot of streaming happening in June. Just as a reminder, Proverbs is not just Confucius say. No, Proverbs is worth praying on, worth studying, worth going through one a night. I'm glad that that's what I decided. Do not want to try to squeeze multiple Proverbs in, at least so far. So Emmanuel, Matt, MR, good seeing you, MR, and Emmanuel. Good seeing both of y'all in here. Thad, Alex, Jenny, Alias, John Smoth, Texan Italian. I don't know if I welcomed you in here. Welcome, Texan Italian. Sorry about that. Nico. Thank you guys. No, we're streaming tomorrow. But I figure I'll put the word out soon. Hey. Oh, your wife had a baby yesterday. That means you had a baby yesterday. Another soldier in the fight against Satan. W's in the chat for the Smoth family. Oh, had to be a C-section? Oh, I've been there 3 times. 3 times. Just dote on her and the baby. W's for the Smoths. Yeah, I'm not gonna close the chat. I'm not gonna close this until we know. I don't want a name, but yeah, definitely it's gotta boy or girl, what are the measurements? Good thing baby came after after your college courses were over for the summer. Because your all-nighters just came a whole lot different. Elric, Elisar, Peter. Oh, I like it. Elisar. That's Lord of the Rings, is it not? Yeah. I submitted my final paper the day before he came. Great. I like it. All right. So, y'all, to all of y'all and Mr. Elric Elisar Peter, Full Metal Alchemist. I was wondering about that too, but I know that that's also an actual name. All of y'all and the newest edition. Thank you guys for being part of the chat. Thank you guys for adding your things, stuff like Matt reminding us, hey, wealth, it's not just your wealth, it's your father's wealth and your son's wealth. Stuff like that. This is why you guys, not just the laughs, not just the banter, stuff like that, the insights. And again, we put our news on the table on the way in. John's doing it on the way out, but we see it. We can all celebrate, we can all mourn, we can all commiserate, we can all jump for joy for all the different things that happen for us. Watch Full Metal Alchemist while dating. I like Full Metal Alchemist. I difficulty getting through Brotherhood. It's just not the same. Um, so thank you guys. Thank you, chat. Y'all are great and wonderful. To everybody who is not in the chat but listening, you can be part of the chat if you want to. I want you to be, but if you choose not to, or if you just can't, that's fine. I'm just glad you are here listening and getting something out of this, and you keep coming back. I appreciate it, and I'm glad that I'm able to be of that service to you. For all of you who are catching this on replay, Emmanuel Osorio, and probably Amar. For any of you guys catching this on replay, thank you. Thank you for watching. Sorry I missed you, and I hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody, have a good night. God bless.